My name is Paul Cormier. That's my accent. I'm a trainer with Kirul. It's my pleasure to greet you to this session dealing with World Heritage Sites. One day I was conducting a training session in a Canadian historical site, and at the break, the manager came to me distraught, and she told me, say, you know, Mr. Cormier, we have old buildings, and it's very hard to make them accessible to everyone. And she was talking about a building built in 1850 or so. So it's very interesting that this afternoon we'll be talking about some areas that are much older than that, and that age in itself is not a total and absolute criteria. So our first speaker is Abba Negi. Is that right? Negi?
That's right.
Okay, there we go. Enough minutes. Who will be addressing the question of access improvements at World Heritage Sites in India. Okay. Abba is, works with, here we go, Swayam, which means myself, in India, whose mandate is to provide equitable access to public infrastructure to all, including elderly and disabled. She is trained in non-handicapping environment at Asia Pacific Development Center on Disability in Bangkok, Thailand.
Thank you so much. I will try to remain away from figures because so many figures have been given to us since we started this conference. So we understand the fact that yes, we need accessibility. Accessibility is one of the biggest enablers for each one of us, not just the disabled, but me, you, all of us. Until and unless we make it my issue, we will not be able to convert it into a movement. So that is, most of the times when I've gone around, I've seen husband, wife with children taking their prams around. I was in Kashmir just a few months back, and a couple went with the child around, and the husband lifted the pram from one end and the wife from the other and negotiated the level difference. So I ran up to them and I said, "Did you not find it difficult?" They said, "No, it was very fine." So that was like a bonding time for husband and wife. So until and unless we actually realize what kind of barriers we are facing in our day-to-day chores we are undertaking, we will not be able to articulate the need for accessibility. So this has to come from all of us, the masses, to make it into a movement. So I am not able to read it here, so I'm very bad at that. So Regina, I'm doing exactly what you did. So heritage sites reflect a rich and diverse expression of the past, thereby forming an integral part of the nation's cultural identity. India has 32 World Heritage Sites, and till 2007, not a single World Heritage Site was accessible. In fact, in 2002, when Mr. Hopkins came to India, it was such a big hue and cry, newspapers carried that not a single heritage site is accessible, and he couldn't go anywhere. Despite that, it took them 7 years to come to terms that yes, we need to make a difference. So we got in touch as Swayam with Archaeological Survey of India, under which purview lies all the archaeological sites, and we started working towards making some of the sites accessible. Each one of them is valued for their impeccable exquisiteness, diversity, and historical significance. Millions visit them every year, and millions feel unwelcome. Which way do I point this? Okay, there it is. So, idea of holiday is both a dream and a nightmare because we don't know what we are going to encounter where, what are the problems. In India, if you're coming with a service animal, airlines welcome service animals, but hotels, no, they don't. So that is a big issue which we are still taking up with the government agencies, and hopefully some solution will come. So inclusive tourism is the need of the hour to provide equitable access to leisure options to all regardless of one's age and ability. We've had people who say, oh really, disabled people want to come out and face these difficulties? Why? They can sit at home, keep them in comfort of the homes. Why do you need to expose them to all these places? But leisure is each one of ours birthright. So demand for equitable access is there. Leisure and holidaying is everybody's birthright. Elderly persons with disabilities have the same motivation to travel as the rest of the population, and perhaps more because they have disposable income and enough time on their hands. They have, like I said, wherewithal and time, but barriers in access dissuade the elderly and people with reduced mobility from visiting a heritage site. That's my father, you see. I had taken him to Srinagar, and it was so difficult to take him to these Mughal gardens. For him, he's 84 years old, so we had to help him go up and bring him down from there. So I'm not going to go through this because you've already seen that figures are speaking. And in India, elderly population has crossed above 60 years is 100 million mark. And that constitutes 8.6% of the total population. And the disability figure is pegged at 2.21, which is way too low compared to the world standards. But this is what we have, the figures, so we work with them right now, as per census of 2011. And if you look at the world disability figures also, each one of them point to the need for having accessibility need to be incorporated in all parts of our life. India's tourism is growing. In fact, foreign tourist arrival was 6.58 million, and domestic tourism was at 36.3 million, as per Government of India's report. We rank 11th in terms of tourist arrival with a share of 2.82%. And by 2020, India will become the leader in tourism industry in South Asia. And if you see, India's tourism share is way too low compared to the rest of the world. And that I would peg down because of the facilities available or the tourist infrastructure which is not up to the mark. Regina, there you are. See? Regina was there during the transit, yes. And this is... globally, over 1 billion people are estimated to live with some form of disability. People with reduced mobility are becoming a growing group of consumers of travel and other leisure-oriented services. Elderly and disabled share the common need for accessibility, and also the families with young children who need to go out and have some leisure. Barriers to access have been so many, and each one of us face them every day, but we don't articulate the need. Each one of us need to do that. So steps, unaddressed level differences, steep slopes, inadequate signage, etc. do form the part of barriers. It is critical to identify, and this is the lower picture you see. This is at Dharamshala, where His Holiness stays. So we had gone to invite him for transit. It's a different story. His people, the functionaries did not allow him to come, even though he had promised that he will come. But that was one of the most beautiful 45 minutes I spent with His Holiness. All thanks to organizing transit in India. So common misconceptions that only wheelchair users need accessible environment, and providing accessibility is an expensive affair. Ground reality, basically, accessibility is often low on the priority list of policymakers and local authorities. I would not say policymakers, policies are there, the laws are there. It is the local authorities when they are working on something. So execution is something where the gap lies, and low awareness levels, lack of trained manpower in the field again impacts. So, as you all see, inaccessible heritage sites excludes many people. This was 4 years back when we were undertaking the audit of Humayun's tomb, and you see this elderly lady was finding it really difficult to negotiate the steps. I would like to warn that even now, this particular platform is not accessible, but going around Humayun's tomb is completely accessible now. So this was again some of the areas which we identified, certain other heritage sites. In fact, 5 years back, wheelchair users were generally had to be manually lifted when they went and visited Taj Mahal. Again, elderly find it difficult to negotiate these steps, etc. This was the scenario at Dal Lake at Srinagar. People were finding it difficult. I was taking my father, holding his hand, taking him around. And this is Ellora and Ajanta caves, which were again very difficult to make accessible, but we could convince. This is not part of this presentation here, but I'm just showing some of the areas. Again, accessible to ticket counters are never there. They are never a priority, so you have to climb up. This was the Fatehpur Sikri group of monuments. You've been there, yes. So this is, again, was completely inaccessible. Difficulty, look at this child climbing up to have water because there's no accessible drinking water facility available on the right-hand side. Sunken toilets without any ramps was another major problem which was identified. It still exists because we are still working on the Ajanta Ellora caves, and that will take some more time. So bridging the divide at the World Heritage Sites was one of the works that we undertook, and access audits were conducted. And this is one of the case study which I'm going to share with you, which was made completely accessible, Qutub Minar and Fatehpur Sikri group of monuments. So as you see, these were the problems which were identified at Qutub Minar. There were a steep step of flights. Again, look at the ramp which existed there, which was so steep, and it was iron, just steel iron piece of flat piece of iron which was placed there. And this was the condition of the inner circulation areas, which was very uneven and very difficult to walk, let alone maneuver the wheelchair. So after the execution of the access report, we had 5 ramps which were placed at different strategic locations, so people could easily go around Qutub Minar, and even the pathways were made completely uniform, and they were paved. So you can see it's even the normal, people without any disability also trying to use the ramps, not just people with disabilities. So this is how people have been enjoying Qutub Minar, and how uniform the pathways are, neat, clean, you can easily go around. And we have low counter height for the ticket counter, uniform signage everywhere, and tactile guiding blocks. We were not allowed to place tactile guiding blocks within the complex, but at least reaching inside, and it's safe because there are no cars or buses buzzing by. Accessible parking was provided, and impact of access improvements at Qutub Minar have a direct impact even on the earnings. So Qutub Minar alone earned 10 crore rupees. I don't know how to convert them into millions. 104 million. Thank you so much, Johnny. You're great. And Humayun's tomb and Red Fort together were at 5.5 crores and 4.8 crores. So it did make business sense also to incorporate accessibility features. Fatehpur Sikri was a humongous site. And again, we had, you could see the stepped entrances, absence of dedicated parking space. Accessible public toilet units, and this is the entrance to one of the most revered places in Fatehpur Sikri monuments, and it had a huge flight of steps, which was difficult for even a person like me to negotiate. After the execution of the report, we have addressed even minor level differences in Fatehpur Sikri, and these are all temporary ramps. In the sense, we have not made any changes to the monument itself. So these are wooden ramps, etc. So accessible ticket counter is there, dedicated parking space is there, and this was a humongous Z-shaped ramp which came up to address the series of steps at this World Heritage Site, I was myself amazed that actually Archaeological Survey of India allowed us, and they took up our suggestion and incorporated this. This was a big thing for Swayam. And porta cabins at toilets have been placed at Fatehpur Sikri, which are accessible and can be used for by everybody. So it's not just an issue for elderly and disabled, it makes participation easier and more effective for everyone. All that is needed is equal opportunity, dignity and independence, which is possible through enabling environment. So do I have time to just zip across through 1 minute? All right, can I just put that film which we gave you, please? Then I will not. This is Taj Mahal, I just wanted to show you. And this is the lady, the spirit behind Swayam's activities.
As any 7-year-old child, Smeenu Jindal too had a zillion dreams. Whenever she saw her father submerged in work, she harbored one secret dream of joining her father's business. Coming from a leading industrial family in the country, she was privileged to have leaders and successful entrepreneurs around her and imbibed as much as she could during the early stages of her life. At the tender age of 11, Smeenu met with an accident that left her paraplegic and on a wheelchair for life. Despite being in a wheelchair, Smeenu Jindal never allowed her spirits to be chained, but she wielded her determination to take life head-on. Smeenu Jindal became the first lady entrant in the country to do her gender proud by having risen to the position of the Managing Director of Jindal Saw Limited. She broke down the myth that women cannot perform in so-called muscle business and has made exemplary contributions to the industry. With rock-solid support of her family, she embarked on a journey where no female had ever treaded, and that too on a wheelchair was unheard of. She plays varied roles with great elan, be it an entrepreneur, change maker or a homemaker. But life was not as easy as Smeenu made it appear to be effortless. Every step through its own set of barriers. The biggest one was from the inaccessible built infrastructure, including transportation systems. Not to sit back, she challenged the norms. Smeenu Jindal is a capitalist with a socialist heart and a crusader of change who's working tirelessly towards the promotion of accessibility in public infrastructure. Through Swayam, she set about realizing her dream of making Incredible India Accessible India. Smeenu Jindal has taken a lead in igniting the minds of policymakers and global leaders to incorporate infrastructural accessibility as a key focus area. Her visionary efforts were crowned with success when Swayam was conferred the National Tourism Award of Excellence for making the World Heritage Site of Qutub Minar in New Delhi as most accessible and disabled-friendly historical monument, followed by Red Fort, Taj Mahal and Fatehpur Sikri group of monuments.
The change that we are all working towards will definitely happen if accessibility becomes a movement involving each one of us. There is hope. Hope for a better world, because when barriers bend, hurdles disappear. Dreams take shape, ambitions form, and life takes a step forward.
Thank you so much.